The SAS is the Special Forces regiment upon which all others are based. Few are tough enough to pass selection. But what does it take to survive once you make it into the Special Air Service? Using a series of dramatic scenarios, a team of hardened ex-SAS veterans have agreed to reveal the survival secrets that kept them alive. The commander of our four-man patrol is former SAS Sergeant Eddie Stone. With him is demolitions expert John McAleese, the first man on the balcony in the Iranian embassy siege. Additional firepower and expertise is provided by Johnny and Pete. We've had to protect their identities. Together, they'll show you how members of the world's most elite regiment fight and survive, and reveal just what it takes to wear this badge. Collectively, these men have spent over 30 years in the SAS. But what attributes does a conventional soldier need to become a member of the world's most renowned fighting force? In this program, our elite team will help us recreate the selection process and combat techniques learnt by a new SAS trooper. We'll reveal how the unique training process transforms ordinary soldiers into the awesome fighting men that make up the regiment. And for the first time, these ex-SAS men will reveal what it takes to survive selection.
A lot of it is mental toughness, you know, and you've got to have that mental toughness.
We'll look at the qualities needed to survive life inside the regiment.
Yeah, if you're fragile in any way, you'll go off your head, you'll never survive.
Using fictitious scenarios, we'll show you what it takes to get into the SAS. We'll look at their training techniques and how to survive life once in the regiment. An SAS trooper has to survive probably the toughest and most rigorous training process in the world. It has 3 distinct phases. Selection. This phase takes place in the Brecon Beacons in Wales. It's specifically designed to weed out those men that don't have the mental and physical stamina required by the regiment. The second phase is jungle training. It's designed to see if you have the tactical and operational skills to function in this elite force under extreme conditions. The third phase is survival training. Because the SAS are required to operate behind enemy lines for long periods of time, they have to learn how to survive on their wits and what is in the surrounding environment. They also need to be able to withstand capture and interrogation.
Stupid man, I was!
In order to be eligible to join the SAS, you must have served at least 3 years in the British Army. Eddie Stone spent his early military career in the Scots Guards, Johnny in the Parachute Regiment, and Mac in the Royal Engineers. These men share one common attribute.
And most of the guys all come from the same sort of background, working class families, largest families, wearing hand-me-downs, you know, from the brother to younger brother and all the rest of it. So most of the guys are from that type of background, hard working class backgrounds.
Correct preparation is the key to getting into the SAS.
You get blokes, I mean, we've all seen it on selection. Because it's raining, you get guys jacking. You know, a couple of hours, they're soaking wet and they go, oh, this is not for me. They're no hardened. You know, they're not decrying what they've done in the army, it's just they're not mentally prepared.
One of the secrets to getting in the SAS is to be a good soldier. And you learn that in your battalion or your unit, correct? Your basic skills, and you know your profession. Every one of those soldiers think they're good enough for the Special Air Service. But as you say, there's no preparation, they've done no soldiering, they've read all the books, they've seen you jumping through the MSA window, and they think they're good enough.
Preparing for selection means getting hill fit. Basically, the ability to navigate over tough terrain, carrying a heavy burden within punishing deadlines. The SAS is based near Hereford. All candidates for selection must report to the barracks a day before the course begins. It's the first time you'll get to size up the opposition.
the first morning when you're there in parade, you know, you're standing there was 220 guys, and I'm stood on the line and I'm looking down this line, and all I can see is maroon berets, paras, you know, there's stacks of them, you know, and big guys, big boys like him and that, you know, and there are some huge guys there, and I was the only Scots Guardsman there, so I felt a bit out of place, like some stood there looking around me. And at that stage, you do start sizing up other people, and you say, Jesus, he's a big guy, you know, and these, you know, and you start getting a little bit of self-doubt in yourself at that time, you know, which I think is only natural because physically they look a lot bigger than you.
SAS selection is designed to test the mental and physical endurance of candidates. It's notoriously tough. Before you even start selection, you must pass a basic Army battle and combat fitness test.
Okay, listen in. You're here because you think you're fit enough and a good enough soldier to join the SAS. Well, that's what we're going to find out. Starting today, you're going to do a CFT. For those of you that's not in the infantry, that is a combat fitness test. It's an 8-mile run carrying your CFO, Central European Fighting Order. You'll have 2 hours to complete this run. Anyone who fails is obviously not fit enough to be a basic soldier, let alone join the SAS. So you'll be out of here. Move.
Over the next 3 weeks, candidates have to do a series of marches over the Brecon beacons.
Vehicle.
Extremely arduous routes are specifically picked to test physical stamina to the limits.
McLeod.
All candidates march with heavy burgans, carrying up to 55 pounds, and have to demonstrate that they can push themselves to the limit, but still navigate as if it's second nature.
Okay, good. You happy where you're going to? Stop. What you doing? Stop. Good. Get away.
Next two. Just go over here, put your bergens down.
The ability of the SAS to march long distances, carrying heavy loads into battle, is legendary. It's fundamental to the way the regiment operates, especially on operations behind enemy lines.
You're doing these tabs. I mean, the idea is you're walking the car out of the house on your back, and you get to where you're going to be fighting. That's what it's all about. You know, because I mean, that heavy burden basically represents your food, your water, and your ammo. So you're walking from A to B, get there, fight, and then scoot. You know, hopefully, you know. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Enemy here!
The first 2 weeks consist of a series of hard marches. For many candidates, it's a shock both mentally and physically. But this has to be overcome if you want to survive.
A lot of it is mental toughness, you know, you've got to have that mental toughness, you've got to be able to put up with the hardships, and if you do have injuries and that, you've got to, you know, keep yourself going through the injuries, you know. A lot of people arrive there with no preparation. You've got to have that preparation, and the boots that you train in is the boots that you must wear, you know, for the selection process. You know, if you try and put another pair of boots on, it's going to rip your feet to bits.
But if you pick up injuries, don't expect sympathy. The best you can hope for is a dose of squaddy humour.
I was lucky, I never got a blister. But you get some blokes coming in, their toenails are hanging off, they get big blisters, and you laugh like hell. I mean, there was one guy in their room, and he had the old burger rubbing his back, you know what I mean? You're talking red flesh, and old Rusty. Yeah, Rusty's there, he's got just the thing for you, mate, and it was white spirit, you know, in his ear. And he's not just dabbing the guy's back, he's rubbing it, and this bloke's chewing like a stuck pig. And we were all curled up in the corner, laughing like hell. And this dozy didn't even know Rusty was just doing it to pure badness, you know. But I mean, it toughened up the skin a wee bit, you know. But I mean, it's stupid, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? The thing, you're going out there, right? You get blokes that's never carried a burg in their life, right? So I mean, what you do, you take their back up so it doesn't rub. Dead simple. You don't get no burgen burns and all the rest of it, you know. This silly like, you know, red flesh every day. I mean, he lasted about a week. He was in agony. But you laugh at him, you know.
Selection tests the most basic of SAS skills, the ability to navigate whilst under great physical and mental pressure.
Name, close staff. Show me who you are. 3561.
Because most SAS operations occur at night, you'll need excellent navigational skills. SAS operations are undertaken with utmost secrecy, so patrols avoid using roads and established routes. They'll use navigational landmarks to move from feature to feature. The SAS also use the latest technology to help them navigate. GPS, or Global Positioning System, was developed by the US Defense Department. It can pinpoint a user's position anywhere in the world. Another primary role when operating behind enemy lines is to act as a forward air command, calling in airstrikes to take out enemy targets.
Distance to target 016 degrees. Direction 13.6 nautical miles. Route back.
The SAS has an ethos that is seemingly relaxed compared to other regiments. For example, elite units such as the Paras depend upon the discipline of rank structure to motivate recruits.
Lift your feet!
Training staff are there to drive you beyond your limits.
Pull your feet! Get up!
In both the Commando Brigade and the Parachute Brigade, you will not be allowed to give in. There'll be somebody hounding you and beasting you and thrashing you like the Guards Division as well. You will not be allowed to give up.
Right, push forward, come on! Come on! Get up! Get moving, come on!
In the SAS, you are on your own when it comes to self-discipline and motivation. The men who watch and observe candidates through the rigors of selection act in a completely different manner to conventional military training staff. So, who are they? The DS, or directing staff, are seasoned SAS soldiers. They've spent at least 6 years in the regiment. They've lived the reality of combat behind enemy lines and counter-terrorism. The speed, aggression and surprise of their training is in direct contradiction to the way the DS behave on selection. It's a window on the way the regiment functions.
I think that the main difference with the DS, I think, is that during the early stages of selection, they're not interested in you in the slightest. They're so laid back, that they should be horizontal, but I think that they do that intentionally to give you a wrong impression of them. Walk into, give lectures with their jackets open, and smoking cigarettes. It's totally military type personas they're showing you, They're just a number there. And they're not bothered whether you pass, fail or burst into flames. It makes no boom. It just makes no difference to their lives. They're just going to carry on doing what they do.
I've had enough stuff.
Okay, grab your rifle. Get yourself in the back of the truck. It's up there, just around the corner.
Stuff, sorry, stuff.
I'm not interested. Just get in the truck. Pick your weapon up properly. You want to get into the regiment? Well, then show me. They're not going to say to you, right, come on, mate, get a move on. You've got to show them that you want to get in, and you've got to do that by, self-determination, and self-discipline.
After 3 weeks of the selection phase, many of the candidates will have given up. Those that remain will be put through a series of extremely difficult marches, which they have to complete within a strict time limit. Up until now, candidates have left the course voluntarily. But this is the first pass or fail hurdle that they face. Those that don't come up to scratch are immediately returned to their unit. The need to march long distances is a tactical necessity for the SAS. But what does an SAS patrolman take on an operation behind enemy lines? The equipment that you carry is crucial to your combat effectiveness. All of this is an example of what one man might carry. Rations, spare ammunition for potential firefights, spare batteries for radios and torches, night sights, Claymores. Claymores were first used by the SAS in Borneo. They fire around 350 metal balls to a range of 100 meters, shredding anyone in their way, and are used by the SAS tactically for perimeter defense. The final test week of the Welsh phase weeds out men who aren't physically fit enough to carry essential combat and survival equipment for long periods. This culminates in endurance, a 40-mile march carrying a 55-pound Bergen that must be completed within 20 hours.
And what they're looking for is that mental determination and self-discipline and strength of mind, strength of character to continue when you're exhausted, but your mind and your heart is telling you, go through that barrier. It's like a marathon runner, when he's running in a marathon, they'll hit the barrier, as they call it, when you're... The wall. You're physically exhausted. You've got no reserves left in your body, but they keep going because of the strength of determination, the strength of will to get through that and keep going. And, you know, when you're doing endurance, for instance, you're doing equivalent to 2 marathons, but during the previous 4 days, you're doing probably a marathon every single day. You're doing that marathon with 55 pound in your back, plus a 10-pound rifle and water and a belt kit.
Around 3/4 of candidates don't survive the Welsh phase of selection. Those that do go on to the next stage, jungle training. During this phase, those that remain will be trained and tested in the standard operating procedures of the regiment. They will be observed at all times and assessed on how they perform and react to the intense training regimen.
If you haven't been in the jungle, you don't know how you're going to react. Because some people adapt it straight away, others absolutely hate it.
It's a very strange place, the jungle. You know, if you can soldier in a jungle environment, then you can basically soldier in any environment.
After World War II, the SAS was reborn in the jungles of Malaya in the late 50s and 60s. Many of the tactical and operational skills used by the regiment were developed during jungle operations. The remaining candidates are now divided into 4-man patrols with a DS watching them constantly. They now have to work as a team and learn the tactical procedures of the SAS. The 4-man patrol is the basic operating unit of the SAS. It's designed to be small enough to move quickly and covertly behind enemy lines, but have sufficient firepower to be able to deal with an enemy contact. A 4-man patrol always moves in a state of tactical alertness. The trooper at the front of the patrol is known as the lead scout. Based on the patrol commander's navigational instructions, the lead scout, or point man, picks the best and most tactical route over terrain to the objective. Because he's more likely to confront the enemy first, he's often armed with a weapon of considerable firepower. The Mini-Me is a light machine gun that acts as a squad support weapon. It has a 200-round box magazine with a rate of fire of 900 rounds per minute. It has proved its worth to the SAS in the Gulf and Afghanistan. Each member of the patrol is trained to watch and observe an arc of fire that is designed to protect the patrol whilst on the move. During the jungle phase, candidates must learn to move with stealth, so they have the edge in a contact situation. To this end, the SAS employ a series of hand signals that help them communicate with each other silently.
Halt. Down on the ground. Obstacle. Friendly. Enemy. Recce. Listen in. Move forward. ERV, emergency rendezvous point. Mine or booby trap. Water. Building. Ambush left. Ambush right.
Learning to remain hidden, communicate, and operate tactically is one of a number of skills candidates must learn, but there's much more.
You're working constantly during the whole period of daylight, and you're learning things all the time. Patrolling, ambushes, demolitions, cutting LS sites, landing sites for choppers, 4-man contact drills, 2-man contact drills. So you're learning constantly all the time.
It's during the jungle phase that candidates learn one of the basic operational skills of the SAS, intelligence gathering. In warfare, intelligence gathering is often the primary role of the SAS. But to watch the enemy secretly, you need a place to hide. The SAS call these OPs, or observation posts. The SAS are experts at setting up OPs. They're often constructed under cover of darkness, and men can spend up to 28 days in position observing the enemy. The skill of gathering intelligence is just as crucial in urban and counter-terrorism scenarios. Total patience, an eye for detail, and the ability to collate information on the enemy is the name of the game. These are the critical prerequisites to mounting a successful operation. The jungle phase of SAS training is an intense learning curve for candidates, but coping with the environment can be just as hard. The extreme conditions of the jungle make this phase of training one of the most mentally demanding for potential recruits. The heat, humidity, insects and wildlife make it a completely inhospitable environment.
You're living in each other's pockets, you're putting in your patrols, and you're living with 3 other guys during that month in the jungle all the time. You sleep together, you drink and eat together, you crap together, and you've got to do everything in twos. So if you want to go for a crap, then your buddy comes with you and he'll have a crap at the same time, yeah? So you can sit having a conversation, you know, beside one another. So you're doing that all the time, and you become very intimate with them. Because...
The hard routine, intense pressure to perform, and jungle environment puts extreme mental strain on candidates. If you have any emotional baggage, then the long claustrophobic jungle nights will play havoc with your ability to deal with the intense training regimen required by the SAS. All training is done under the watchful eye of the directing staff, or DS. The DS are watching to see whether candidates can operate in a 4-man patrol, and that they have the natural ability to learn all the tactical and operational skills needed by the regiment. At this stage, the fate of the candidates is totally dependent on their teamwork and tactical ability.
These guys that are coming into the squadron have got to be able to fulfill a role in the squadron, and it's up to the DS to select the people under this, you know, the rules as they are. No favouritism, just straight down the line and do the job. Because at the end of the day, would you share a foxhole, a trench, with this guy in a battle? And if you say, well, maybe not, then see you, he's not the man for it. But if you say aye, then he's in.
Contact drills are practiced constantly by candidates so that they can perfect this most essential combat skill of the 4-man patrol. Candidates use live rounds, so there is no option of getting it wrong.
That was absolute crap, right? It was terrible.
Maybe that day when you were doing some training or something, you did something wrong and you got punished for it, or bollocking for it. And you'll find that's when most people jack is in the morning, after they've had that long period of time to sit and contemplate what this is all about. That's when the solitude, the worry, these seeds of doubt start coming into your mind. Most of the guys get up in the morning, think, I've got to put this wet gear in again. No, and they're not going to do it.
After jungle training, those candidates that remain return to Hereford, where they'll spend a month undergoing survival training.
Once you finish that jungle phase, then you're 75% of the way there. We are, a unit which operates behind enemy lines, and there's if you get captured, then you're going to get interrogated, and you've got to be able to escape and evade. If you're bumped or you have a contact behind enemy lines where you lose some casualties, you've got to be able to get away from that and operate as an individual and survive. And if you can't do that, then they're not going to send you behind enemy lines if they don't train you how to do that.
Hey Johnny, take me that left-hand side.
SAS missions are highly dangerous. There's always a chance you'll get bumped by the enemy and end up going on the run pursued by a hunter force. Experience and extensive training are the secret to surviving on the run. It's essential that each man carry their own personal survival kit.
This is my survival kit. Various cutting implements. A wire saw. This will cut through metal. Could also be used for other things as well. The most important thing is a good sharp knife. Water purification tablets. A heliograph for signalling helicopters or aircraft. A pair of tweezers for removing thorns. You leave them in too long, then they're likely to turn poisonous. You may carry some local currency, some safety pins, a little sewing set. When you're on the run for a while, then your clothes start to deteriorate. A button compass, very important. A silk sketch map. This will be hidden in your body somewhere. If you go on the run, then you've got a map of the area.
In the survival kit, there are some unusual lifesavers.
Condoms for water collection. Put it inside a sock, fill the condom with water, and you get a nice little carrier bag to carry the water in. A tampon. Very important that you open the tampon out. Striker and flint. Some alcohol wipes. Can be used for cleaning wounds, but can also be used for lighting fires. Some glycerin, which you mix with potassium permanganate. Potassium permanganate can also be used to sterilise your water. It tastes pretty bad, but keeps you alive. As you can see, you get a very violent reaction when these two chemicals are mixed together. This should be used only in a survival situation and at no other time.
After 3 weeks, candidates are made to go on the run. All they're given is a basic survival kit, and they're pursued by a hunter force. At the end of this, all candidates are captured and have to undergo interrogation to see if they can withstand psychological pressure.
Escape and evasion part of it is, it's good, it's interesting until you get captured. You know what I mean? And that's when the business starts.
Fight him, lads! Get him! Let's go! Get down! Stay there! Get him up. Up! On your feet!
These guys who are doing the hunter force, they'd like nothing better than to grab hold of, a potential SAS guy and beat the out of him, like.
During interrogation, candidates are deprived of sleep and placed in stress positions to increase the physical and mental hardship.
When you're against the wall, you're physically you're tired, you've had no sleep as well, and you're against that wall, and your mind drifts off, and your mind has got to drift off, and when you're in a position against the wall, it's quite surprising how comfortable you can become in that position, even though it looks torturous. It's a mind game, you know, and that's what it's all about. That's what interrogation is all about. The best part is going and getting taken for interrogation. Initially, they'll put you through 2 or 3, maybe 4 different quick interrogation techniques.
Name, rank. Look up, Edward. Edward, look up.
You know that it's going to end. Whereas if you're caught for real, you don't know when it's going to end. So there's a big, obviously, mental release there.
Look at me! Look at me! What was your call sign? No point standing there looking like that. All I want to know is your call sign.
You know, right, within the next, 24, 36 hours, you're out of there and you're finished. So you've got that in the back of your head all the time. You've also got in the back of their head, they kind of take you outside and put a bullet in your head, because you know that as well, whereas in the real situation, you don't know that. So mentally, they can't do these things, obviously, to you, but what they're trying to do is prepare you mentally so that you can withstand interrogation without obviously going to the extremes which can occur, which are obviously impossible for them to do that.
The interrogation phase is the last major hurdle candidates must overcome if they are to pass selection. You need to demonstrate that you can handle the intense psychological pressure.
You've got the whole thing like when you're doing all the interrogation, but they always keep mentioning be the grey man, you know, I mean, don't draw attention to yourself and all this. I mean, when you've been stuck against a wall for 6-7 hours and you get these kids sort of question you, you know, you've got to try not to bite.
Interrogation is designed to explore the inner man. It's no good being physically as hard as nails if your mental and emotional strengths are weak. Showing any emotion at this stage will mean total failure.
Just because you won't answer one stupid little question.
I mean, you might just walk over and punch them in the throat, but you can't, you know. Then you get others, you want to laugh at them because they're pathetic. But you just got to keep the deadpan face and just go through it. You know yourself, you go, oh, on another day to go, you know. You think, oh, badge, magic, you know, one of the boys.
Once they've completed this phase successfully, candidates are ready to become part of the regiment. The SAS call this getting badged.
When you get badged, it actually is a bit of an anticlimax, you know, and being a guardsman myself, I was expecting a big parade and marching bands and all the rest of it, you know, and but it wasn't quite like that. I just go and see the RSM, get taken up there, and we said, okay, well done. The threws were buried across the desk and changed them over, took your guards berry off, but the SAS berry on. Out the door, that was it. I don't think he even shook our hands.
Once badged, the existing rank from your parent unit can't be transferred to the regiment. Instead, you become a trooper in the SAS. There are 4 operational squadrons in the SAS: A, B, D, and G. Each has 4 troops, with up to 12 men. Each troop specialises in an insertion skill. Air troop are experts in parachuting. Boat troop are experts in all sorts of amphibious work on the surface or below water. Mountain troop are winter warfare specialists, experts in rock climbing, skiing, and tabbing over rough terrain. And mobility troop are transport professionals when it comes to vehicles, motorbikes, and heavy weapons. A new trooper will join one of the 4 squadrons of the SAS. For a new guy, or crow, it's just the beginning of a life of constant training and being ever ready to be called on operations.
You could be in the regiment 15, 20 years and still not learn every specific skill. You're learning different skills all the time. Be a DEMS course, medical course, signals course, language course, bodyguard course, bodyguard instructors course, vehicle driving course, vehicle maintenance courses, diving courses. The list is endless.
You pass the selection, but you're actually just beginning the start of your training.
Your training, your career, you know.
Because you're in there, I mean, you're just a name, you know, you're the newest bloke in the squadron. You've got a lot of learning to do. I mean, you've got to remember when you first go in, I mean, you're basically on probation for a year, you know, and then it's an ongoing system, you're learning all the time.
The first thing a new trooper needs is a skill to make him an effective member of a four-man patrol. The patrol acts as a self-contained unit behind enemy lines, so each member has a skill that complements the others, thus enhancing the team's effectiveness.
In an SAS patrol, we normally have 4 basic skills. Johnny's a lead scout in this operation. He is also a linguist, speaks Sabre, Croatian and French. John Mack, he's a radio operator. He's also a demolitions expert. Pete, he's a patrol medic. He's also a trained sniper. Myself, I'm the patrol commander. I'm a sniper specialist and a trained demolitionist. All of these skills, plus the firepower we have, makes us a formidable force.
The patrol medic's specialist skills are vital when a member of the unit gets injured. Mac has stepped on a blast mine that has shredded his leg. Behind enemy lines, patrol medics customize their medical kit dependent on the size and nature of the mission. The kit needs to be lightweight but sophisticated enough to deal with all the injuries associated with combat. Here, the priority is to stem the flow of the bleeding from the leg, using sterile dressings. The medic also needs to stop any chance of infection from dirt and debris from the mine blast. The next priority is to get an intravenous drip into a vein before it collapses. The final step involves using a simple key code to mark the casualty's forehead to help the extraction unit. In Mac's case, it's an M to denote he's been given morphine. One of the first skills a new recruit learns is signaling. Signalers must be skilled in a variety of radio equipment, as well as coding and decoding. The communications equipment used by the regiment makes interception by an enemy impossible. Maintaining communication is vital to any military operation, especially within the SAS. Information conveyed can be as varied as calling in an airstrike, requesting extraction, or passing on routine reports.
Fortune 3, Roger. IP grid 162579.
Weapons training is crucial to the effectiveness of the regiment. Most infantry soldiers won't have fired a pistol during their conventional army career. But in the SAS, a huge amount of training and resources is spent on perfecting the use of a variety of weapons.
How you hone your skills, how you learn pistol shooting and the amount of ammunition you get, which you never had access to in a normal infantry unit, just going on the ranges. You go in the ranges, you get boxes and boxes of ammunition. So you can then practice and hone your skills to perfection, because you've got to.
The SAS train constantly to give them the edge in all contact situations. It's this level of training that makes a Special Forces unit.
There's old adage like, train hard, fight easy. And it's been proved loads and loads of times.
The SAS mantra is speed, aggression and surprise in contact situations. Because of the constant training, an SAS soldier has a high degree of self-belief in his ability. This makes him far more effective in contact situations.
You do like basic pistol shooting, and you do a turn, you always turn towards the enemy. They might be firing at you, but you become the aggressor, even though they've started firing first. And it's the whole psychology game again, you'll beat them.
I don't know who it was that he said, but you've got to seize the initiative and get in there and
kick the at them,
take
win.
control of the situation.
And you've got to win.
Unless they're using kryptonite, they're not getting you. That's your attitude.
Yeah.
If they've got kryptonite, not right, let's get amongst them. You must believe in yourself.
Go!
When the regiment ended the Iranian embassy siege in dramatic fashion, their motto, "Who dares wins," was catapulted into the consciousness of the public.
You'd always been training for that type of job. Because of all the sort of media coverage after it, it put the regiment in the world's eyes, really, you know. I mean, the size of the selection straight after old the MCCs, I mean, it was unreal. There were thousands of people want to go, you know. They wanted to swing through windows and ropes and things, you know, and wear all black kit. You know, it was unreal. You know, in some respects it was kind of bad for the regiment, I think, in some respects, because you were, how can I say, getting the wrong type of bloke actually applying to go on selection. You know, they wanted to be James Bond type people, all this sort of rubbish, you know, rather than just turn up and sit in a ditch and get wet and cold, you know. So, I mean, you had sort of both sides of the coin, you know.
The SAS keep an entire squadron on permanent standby to deal with terrorism wherever it may arise. Each of the SAS squadrons take it in turns to cover counter-terrorism duties. Split into 2 teams, red and blue. Each team takes it in turns to be on 30-minute and 3-hour standby.
Stand by. Go.
Anti-terrorism training is unique to the regiment. All new recruits have to be trained in the role. It requires speed and tremendous teamwork when getting to grips with a vast array of new equipment and technology. For any regular soldier, counter-terrorism training will be completely new.
You're a new recruit, you know, you don't know, haven't got a clue of what's going on, what the equipment is, what's happening, you know, and so, I mean, in that old scenario, you end up as a ladder man, you know, in an assault team. So you end up at the bottom of the ladder, you know, again. So, and which is only fair and right, because you don't know what the business is.
CQB, or close quarter battle, is a combat skill developed by the regiment. Members of the counter-terrorism team spend endless hours in the killing house, a specially constructed building designed to practice their techniques. The killing house has specially designed bullet-absorbent walls because the soldiers use live rounds.
Sniper position is just 10-15 metres forward here, yeah? You happy with that?
Yeah, no problems.
Okay, right, there you go.
The anti-terrorism team consists of 2 groups, the main assault group and the sniper group. The 2 teams exercise independently, but cross-training does occur. A high degree of dedication and discipline goes into becoming an expert shot in a hostage rescue situation. Members of both groups of the team must have the ability to shoot from any position in any environment. Because of this, SAS soldiers train to identify and confirm targets, then act rapidly. Because of the multiple roles of the regiment with its myriad of special insertion skills, continuation training involves the learning of new skills at a phenomenal rate.
It's like playing with a top football team. There's always fresh blood coming in who are all a good high standard, and they're always pushing you. You've got to compete with these guys all the time.
That's why during the selection process they're looking for guys with self-discipline, so that they know when they get in that they can still maintain that self-discipline and maintain that level of fitness for any op.
You may be working alongside the cream of the British Army, but you're always under total scrutiny.
You're actually more underneath the say magnifying glass in the squadron, what you are in training, you know, as you're going through the selection process, because you're actually going to be working with the guys. You know, if you're a head, that's it, poof, bend, you know. Because it does happen, you do get the odd 1 or 2 that sort of get through the cracks, you know, and then they get, like you say, they get the squadron, goes to their head, and it has happened to a few, various squadrons. You know, the last 3 months they get binned, you know. You know, where it's, say, how can you say, downtown misbehaviour or in the squadron misbehaviour, you know. Bye-bye, yeah, don't come back.
And the best thing to do when you get into the squadron is just, you know, keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, and absorb all that information that's been given to you.
Listen and learn.
Listen and learn. Yep. Continue to be, you know, or be the grey man, you know. Just, you know, and when people talk to you, talk to them, you know. You know, and make sure you're there on time and you're there to do the business.
Another role of the SAS is close protection. The regiment has provided bodyguards for VIPs both in the UK and abroad. For a highly trained soldier to operate in a civilian theatre involves the mastering of yet another specialist skill.
Well, it's the same as soldiering in military clothes, just a different type of uniform. You're doing a job and you're doing a military role, and you've been asked to bodyguard somebody, then you'll do that. The only difference being, instead of wearing camouflage gear or counter-terrorist gear, you're wearing civvies.
Depending on the threat assessment, the team may need to be heavily armed when bodyguarding a VIP. Often, these weapons have to be concealed. The SAS employ a variety of techniques when protecting a VIP and practice these as a series of foot drills.
One guy's alive! Get down!
Whilst driving in convoy, the team also use specialist defensive and evasive driving techniques to protect the VIP. But for a hardened soldier, this role is far from glamorous.
It's boring. It's boring from the point of view that you're half the time you're spent sat doing nothing while your VIP is holed away somewhere. For every 10, 15, 20 minutes of activity, you've been sat around for 11 hours. So it's quite a boring job. But once again, it's a job that you've got to keep yourself alert at, and then you're a professional. That's what you are. You're a professional soldier, and if you're asked to do that role, then once again you'll do that role to the best of your ability. You might not like doing it, but you've drawn the short straw. You've got to go and do this, so you go and do it, and get on with it.
Because of the multiple roles of the SAS, the regiment has to be on constant standby to deal with terrorism and go on operations behind enemy lines. The ethos of the SAS is to train hard, to fight easy. This is vital if the regiment is to be constantly ready to fulfill its role in combat. Historically, the regiment has been deployed in conflicts throughout the world: the Falklands, Bosnia, and recently Afghanistan and the two Gulf Wars. But what is it like when all that training is put into a real contact situation?
The fact that you've passed selection and you've came from whatever unit you've arrived from doesn't then say, okay, this guy's going to react this way when the bullets start whizzing towards him. They can react totally the opposite way. They can hit the deck and not want to get on with it. But you would hope, that because of what he's went through and all that, he's going to get up and fight with you, and that's what it's out. But at the end of the day, until you come under fire, effective enemy fire as they call it, then you can't judge how you're going to react yourself.
Yeah, but nobody does. Nobody does till you get shot at. And you get shot at, you shit yourself. You shit yourself, you get down because you remember the training. Down and crawl, move, rather fast, and your yourself's going like that. It's common sense. But you remember your basic training, that's what it's all about.
It's like a car crash, I suppose. You don't want to be in it, but it happens so quick, and then before you know it, it's over in a few seconds or 10 minutes, and it's happened.
The whole thing is about it's the training, and people say, well, you're frightened, but you're not, because you're totally concentrating on what you're going to do, and you're thinking about the operation, what's happening, and you're reacting to that. So you haven't got time to be frightened. If you're frightened, you end up dead because you're going to be slow. It's afterwards, when you finish the contact, then you may sit down and you might think, oh, that was a bit close there, Johnny Bud, and you'll sit and have a chanter about it. And then at that time, because the adrenaline is starting to fall out, out your body, you're losing that adrenaline rush that you had during the initial contact. That is when you may feel a little apprehension and a little worry as to, what went on. You can't think about your enemy. All you think about is that if he's putting fire down against you, you're going to take him out. Can't have any emotion about it. once again, it is through the training and the discipline and your reactions is, if somebody's shooting a gun at you, you're going to get up there and you're going to shoot the gun back and you're going to kill them.
Although by necessity the SAS is a secretive regiment, everything it does has to come under Army rules and regulations. SAS soldiers are under the same rule of law as any British citizen. Every time a weapon is fired in action, it has to be legally justified.
Now, there is a conception, I believe, through various programmes that's been on and all that we're a bunch of thugs, and in some sense, that a private army, but we are not, we're far from it. We are soldiers, disciplined soldiers, and we're far from thugs. We operate under orders. We work and plan the missions to the best of our ability, and we'll get on and do the job. But everything we do, we're still responsible for it. We still fall under Army rules and regulations and civil law.
The formidable fighting assets of the SAS means that the regiment is constantly deployed on operations. The men who serve within the regiment have to make great personal sacrifices.
At the end of the day, the person with the hardest position of any, in the regiment is the wives and the children. They're the people who's, I would say, the short end of the stick, because you're out there, you're doing your business, and you're confident and you're able to do your job, as well as the next guy, But it's them that sat there when you're away on ops who are, maybe not as confident as you are in yourself, and it's them that's got the worries and the stresses and the strains of, one, worrying about you being away, two, looking after the kids while you're away and running the house and looking after all that side. So your wife, or the wives of the guys have got probably a lot more stress and strain and pressure than the guys themselves, because when they're away, they're doing what they do. And the wives are sat back at home, and don't forget, it's not a married quarters like a normal married quarters. There's guys in different parts of the town living in their own little houses, and so they're the people with the stress and the worry.
The life of an SAS trooper can put enormous pressures on relationships and lead to family breakdowns.
Divorce rate's very high, but you've got to have a strong wife and you've got to have a strong marriage. And if you don't have that, then it won't last. People get divorced for various reasons, but I mean, a lot of it, the divorces happen because the women just can't handle the pressure anymore, and the stress, because in some cases, especially in the latter day, I mean, the guys are away all the time, and they're constantly away in operations. So it's very, very difficult for them.
To be a part of the regiment is a great honour to the men who serve within it. But life after the regiment can be the biggest battle they have to face.
Well, first of all, I don't think the regiment prepared the guys well enough for getting out into Civvy Street when they were leaving, especially up until, I would say, up until the early 90s, when they actually started to look at what guys were going to do when they got out. And you've got guys at 40 years old going out into Civvy Street, still young, fit men who have been discarded by the regiment and the army. It's difficult for people to readjust. Well, for some people, it's difficult for them to readjust. A lot of them commit suicide.
Like you say, you get some blokes, they've been in, say, 20 odd year, and one minute they're, say, Sergeant Major or something like that, and the next minute they're back to square one again. Because you go out in Sabre Street, you're no longer the big cheese, and some people can't accept it. They get out, they get a job, and they think, oh, I'm still Sergeant Major. Hey, hang on, Jimmy, you're at the bottom of the pile. Doesn't matter what you were yesterday, today you're now a civvy again. You're back at the bottom of the pile,
But what does a highly trained soldier, the elite of the British Army, do when he becomes a civilian? Many go on to the circuit, a euphemism for a variety of organisations who provide security for big businesses all over the world.
Well, first of all, I worked in the Middle East for a year. I was a captain in the Royal Omani Police Force. I left there and went to work in Southern Africa for the Wildlife Fund training anti-poaching units. I was operational manager for some security companies over there, operational director. Came back to the UK and I started working offshore, and I was a rigger in the offshore construction vessels doing in the oil fields. I was a postman, delivered mail. Left that because the Christmas tips were crap, and and I was labouring. I was labouring up until I went on SAS. Are You Tough Enough?
I've had a pub. I've dug ditches. I've put new roofs on people's houses. What else? Well, the old BG work, looking after certain people.
So at the end of the day, you know, because you leave the SAS doesn't give you any God-given right to you know, a decent job and a top-class income. You know, at the end of the day, when you leave the SAS, you're, as John's saying, are just Mr. Stone in a great big world, and a lot of the skills that you have are defunct, are useless within the normal civilian theatre.
A career in the SAS is an intoxicating combination of danger, excitement and incomparable esprit de corps. But what kind of lasting impression does it leave?
I think anybody who served in it, who sits and says, oh, I don't miss it one bit, is lying, because it is, as Eddie says, a good analogy is a top-class football player. Do you miss scoring the FA Cup final winning goal? Of course you do. You know, it's excitement and the buzz of doing it. And you do enjoy it, and you look back, and it's a very personal type of excitement which, you know, for the rest of your life you'll probably never attain it again. We have done things which are extraordinary, but at the end of the day it's men that do it. It's John Mac, Eddie Stone, etc, etc. It's just 4 men that do it. You do things which other folk can only read about or watch on the TV. We actually have done it. So, of course you miss it, yeah.
Over the course of this series, we've recreated a variety of fictional scenarios through which we've revealed the secrets that have kept these men alive in the elite fighting force that is the SAS. We've shown their unique infiltration skills and intelligence gathering role behind enemy lines. And we've looked at how they conduct a raid on an enemy target. We've witnessed the combat tactics that a 4-man patrol used during contact with the enemy.
Get him away, no! Move!
We've learned how the SAS survived brutal interrogation after being captured.
You're not doing yourself any favours.
This is Charlie 19, ready for pickup, over.
We've also seen how they escape and evade and use their survival skills to stay alive in hostile territory against tremendous odds. But we've also seen the SAS in other roles, such as providing high-level VIP protection. We've looked at the training, planning, technology and tactics used by the SAS when in a bodyguarding role.
Shut it!
And we've examined what happens when the SAS is called in to rescue hostages in a similar scenario to that of the Iranian embassy siege. All of these survival secrets are what makes the SAS the elite amongst all the special forces in the world.